A black man walked into the lobby of the company whose entire security system he had built. By the time he left that lobby, 4 different people would have decided who he, and every one of them would be wrong. The only thing in that building that got it right was a machine. It had known him for 11 years. It just hadn't been asked yet. If you've ever been looked at like a problem before anyone bothered to ask who you were, stay with me. This one's for you. Solomon Carter walked through the revolving doors of Verity Technologies, his 8-year-old son, Micah, gripping 2 of his fingers. Dad, is this the place with the brain you built? That's the one. Does it know you're here? Above them, a lens in the ceiling tile turned half a degree and settled on Solomon's face. It didn't need to ask twice. It already had a match. What it didn't have yet was a reason to act on it. The woman at the front desk looked up from her phone. Solomon Carter. 10 o'clock with the security team. She typed, frowned. I'm not seeing a Carter on today's calendar. Marcus Webb set it up. I consult on the access systems here. Without a confirmation, I can't let you up. You'll need to wait. She pointed to a chair by a dying fern. Micah looked up at her, and for just a second, something in his face dropped. Not clever, not observant, just hurt. The plain kind a kid can't hide yet. Are we in trouble? He asked quietly. We didn't do anything. Solomon knelt down to him. No, Bug, we're not in trouble. Sometimes people decide things about you before they know anything about you. That's not the same as being in trouble. That's their mistake, not yours. Micah nodded, but he held his father's hand a little tighter on the way to the chairs. A man in a quarter zip and expensive sneakers breezed through the doors behind them, phone already to his ear. Hey, Jess. Morning, Mr. Halloran. Go right on up. They're waiting on 7. No badge, no ID. He walked past the turnstile like it had simply been built to expect him. Micah watched the whole thing. Dad, he didn't even stop. No, Solomon said. He didn't. Micah didn't ask why this time. He just looked back down at his shoes, like he was starting to understand something he didn't want to. The receptionist called over a man in a gray blazer. No meeting on file, she said. Says he built the security system. I'll need ID, sir, the man said, and I'm going to need you to keep your voice down. My voice hasn't moved, Solomon said. It hadn't, just for everyone's comfort. A few visitors near the coffee bar had gone quiet, watching without watching. 14 floors up, a soft chime sounded on Aaron Pruitt's private terminal. A system that almost never made noise on its own. He glanced at it. A flag. Verified founding credential. Entry denied. Duration, 3 minutes 40 seconds. He exhaled. Probably a stale credential record. He typed a quick note to IT and went back to his screen. 40 seconds later, the chime sounded again. Louder this time. A different tone, oscillation. Verified credential, still denied. Duration, 4 minutes 22 seconds. Second staff member now involved. Aaron sat back. That wasn't a stale record. That was the system telling him a contradiction was sitting in his lobby and getting worse by the minute. A person it had already verified. Being treated by his own staff as if he hadn't been. He didn't run yet. He called down first. The front desk phone rang. The receptionist picked it up, said okay twice in 2 very different tones, and put it down looking unsettled. Before she could explain, a uniformed guard was already crossing the floor. Sir, step away from the desk. We haven't moved, Solomon said. The guard's radio cracked with a new voice, sharper, more urgent. He listened, and his posture changed. Copy. Don't escalate further. Repeat, do not escalate. The manager frowned. Escalate what? I haven't touched anyone. A barista at the lobby coffee bar quietly raised her phone, filming low over the espresso machine. A visitor near the elevators leaned toward his colleague. Is this about to be a thing? It wasn't yet. But the lobby had the particular charge of a room where everyone has started keeping score. Even if nobody said so out loud, Aaron didn't take the elevator. He took the stairs two at a time, his earlier doubt burning off with every floor. By the time he hit the lobby, he wasn't second-guessing the alert anymore. He was furious. It had taken him 2 warnings to believe it. He crossed the marble fast enough that the barista's phone swung toward him. He went past the manager, past the guard. He dropped to one knee in front of Micah. "Hey," Aaron said, breathless. "I'm sorry you got stuck waiting by that sad-looking plant. That's not how anybody should be treated walking through these doors." Micah studied him, still a little guarded from earlier. "Are you going to say sorry and then nothing changes? Because that happens sometimes." The whole lobby seemed to go quiet around that sentence. Aaron didn't have a clever answer for it. "I'm going to try not to be that," he said. "That's the most honest thing I can tell you right now." It seemed to be enough for Micah for the moment. He looked up at his father. Aaron rose and faced Solomon. "Mr. Carter, Aaron Pruitt, CTO, I'm sorry. I should have come down on the first alert, not the second." The elevator chimed. Verity's founder and CEO stepped out. She'd been on her way to a different meeting when Aaron's call upstairs reached more people than just him. "Someone explain," she said, scanning the room, "why a verified founding engineer has been standing in my lobby for 10 minutes while my staff debated whether to believe him." The manager straightened, ready with an answer. "Mrs. Okafor, we were simply following entry protocol. Without a calendar confirmation, our policy requires—" "Your policy," she said, "also requires staff to verify identity through the front desk terminal before extended denial. Did anyone run that check?" He hesitated. "I didn't think it was necessary." Given what?" He didn't finish the sentence. There wasn't a version of it that survived being said out loud. The receptionist's voice came out smaller. "I didn't know who he was. He designed the system on your own badge terminal," Aaron said. "His name's been on the splash screen for 11 years. "I didn't know," she said again. "I know," Solomon said. "That's the problem." He kept it brief, the way he always had. "You didn't fail to recognize my resume. You failed to recognize a person before you'd decided whether he belonged." Mr. Halloran walked through that door without showing a single form of ID, and nobody asked him a question. "My son and I answered 5, sitting next to a dying plant." He looked at the manager. "And you asked me to lower a voice I never raised." The manager opened his mouth. Protocol, comfort, policy, the same words again, and then, for the first time, stopped himself before finishing. "I don't want anyone fired in front of my son," Solomon said. "That's not justice. That's a show. I want to know what happens here after the only camera anyone's still thinking about is the one filming us right now." The barista, phone still raised, slowly lowered it. Aaron held up his terminal. "I want you to see exactly what triggered this, because it isn't what people assume." He showed the log. A verified founding credential detected. A denial exceeding the standard threshold. Multiple staff overrides without verification. Result: priority escalation. "It doesn't know what fairness is," Aaron said. "It just knows 3 things were true at once that shouldn't have been: a verified identity, a denial that kept extending, and staff who never ran the one check that would have ended it in 10 seconds. That's not the system being clever. That's the system catching the exact failure it was built to catch. Just not the kind anyone expected." Solomon nodded slowly. "Then it's working." The manager was moved out of guest-facing operations within the month. Not fired, but no longer the first face anyone met at the door. The receptionist stayed and sat through retraining that had less to do with biometrics and more to do with the oldest kind of recognition there is. The barista deleted her footage herself. The story had already changed without it. The guard who'd quietly refused to escalate further got pulled aside by the CEO and offered a new role leading visitor experience. "Why me?" he asked. "Because you were the only person down here today who chose caution over certainty," she said. "That's rarer than people think." 6 months later, Solomon walked back through those same doors alone. Micah at school. A new receptionist came around her desk instead of staying behind it, crouching to meet an elderly man in a wheelchair at eye level before he'd said a word. Good morning. How can I help you get exactly where you need to go today? Solomon walked past, already badged, and didn't slow down. His son's voice echoed from that morning. Are we in trouble? We didn't do anything. No, Bug. You never were. The system always knew that. It just took the people standing in front of it a little longer to catch up.